Alright guys, so I thought I've been in RaceRoom a little bit lately, as you know, so I've done a couple of videos on the World Touring cars and stuff like that, but a couple of comments on my videos were saying that, RaceRoom has a few issues and stuff like that with, how the force feedback or how the information is fed to the driver with the tyre model or whatever, and basically to give a rear-wheel drive car a go. So RaceRoom is brilliant for touring cars, front-wheel drives, and granted I've got limited running in rear-wheel drives. So I thought, what better kind of comparison to take a GT3 that I'm familiar with, which is the Audi R8. I raced that in ACC. And my next league race is at Brands Hatch next week. So I thought, well, let's do it. Let's go to Brands Hatch. We're in RaceRoom, so we're going to do maybe 3 or 4 laps in the Audi R8 in RaceRoom. It's the Evo 1 model, by the way, not the Evo 2 that I drive in ACC. But what I'm going to do is we're going to jump into the Evo 1 in ACC after this, at the same track, essentially the same car, and we'll do a back-to-back comparison. So for this test, what I'm doing is I'm just leaving the setup at pretty much default and about 20 litres of fuel. And yeah, let's go for it. So let's see what this feels like from a physics perspective. I want to see what information I'm going to get through the feedback, what the car feels like generally speaking, and how it behaves, on track. So yeah, let's get into it. And I did kind of just one quick warm-up lap just to kind of see what the track felt like. So, just so I'm not spending like the whole video kind of going off track in the Audi. And I think, like in ACC, lap times around this track are normally about 123 to 125, 26, depending on the car, the setup. So I'm not sure what BOP this. I mean, this is obviously a DTM car, right? So again, I'm not sure what balance performance is in RaceRoom on the DTMs at the various tracks. So this could be plus or minus by a couple of seconds on that, maybe, I don't know, 27s, 28s. But yeah, let's just see how it feels like immediately. The bumps are a lot more, they're a lot smoother, the bumps on the track, so there's not a lot of interaction or no harshness going on, for sure. Like I can feel the car kind of bouncing nicely, that rubbery feel as we've come to accustom, with RaceRoom, but it doesn't feel visceral or raw the way it does in ACC. Good or bad, I don't know. Let's just see. Let's build up a bit of pace anyway and see what these cars behave like on the limit. Just going through the dash display. Oh, the car knows the tyre wear. Okay. I somehow doubt that's in the real car. I don't know though, if the Audi R8 knows exactly what percentage of tyre wear it has. But obviously it's a racing sim, so a bit of extra info as a sim driver, but doubt that's authentic, but whatever. Let's focus on the actual driving style. So yeah, the car's behaving kind of as I'd expect. I can feel the back of it when it's threatening to step out a little bit. It's a bit more vague compared to ACC, but it's there. Behaviour on brakes is normal. Behaviour on throttle hour corners, the Audi pushes a little bit in certain circumstances. That's all similar. And that corner there, I'm kind of balancing the nose on the brake, which is what I would do in ACC as well. Curb interactions are visibly as violent, but like I say, just lacking the audio bangs and the harshness that you get with ACC. And when we jump into ACC, you'll see what I mean. Yeah, it behaves very similar, I have to say. The feedback when you take a couple of laps to listen to the feedback in RaceRoom, it is actually quite similar to ACC. In terms of what the information is giving you, like the car attitude and pitch, it's a little slower. That's a little bit more rubbery. ACC, the feedback is a little bit more harsh, but in terms of what the car is doing, it's quite similar. one thing I do notice though, regardless of how the car handles and stuff like that, is the actual track surface. It's way smoother in RaceRoom. I don't know if the ACC the RaceRoom version is laser scanned. The ACC one is. In fact, every track in ACC is scanned. But we still have a couple of bumps being picked up on the track in RaceRoom. But yeah, there's definitely a difference. You can definitely notice it's not as bumpy or as, let's say, full of character compared to the ACC version. But whatever. But I mean, it is nice to drive. It's enjoyable. It's relatively easy. You know, things happen kind of slowly. When the grip is threatening to let go, you get ample warning of it. The tire slip seems quite realistic, acceptable at least. Yeah, and the handling model is somewhat predictable, I think. Yeah, once you feel and once you understand what the car is wanting to do, like, you can kind of... Let me just push the brake bias back a little bit, just to see what the car is like a little bit with, you know, more rearward bias. Can I feel the car stepping out at all? Yeah, a little bit more vague than what I'm used to maybe in Assetto Corsa Competizione, but yeah, it's there. Let's go even more extreme. Yeah, okay, so let's park it there. Yeah, and let's just have a look at the replay and just unpack a little bit of this. So the car behaves in a similar way to ACC, right? So the attitude, the pitch, the balance, it's similar to what I would expect from the Audi in ACC. So the from a physics perspective, it seems to be pretty much on the money. The track noticeably is a lot smoother. Definitely not as much character and curbs to be aware of the way in ACC. Like in ACC, you'd have to be way more careful of how you enter corners because of the curbing and stuff like that can really unsettle the car. It unsettles it in this as well, but because it's that rubbery feel, it's sometimes difficult to gauge how unsettled the car is going to be. Other things that I noticed was different was the dash readouts were slightly different to the real car. The LEDs in ACC and in real life either changed to a red or blue when you hit the red line. They didn't in this, but again, these are small things really. I do like the sounds on this, by the way, particularly from the outside, that cracking and popping from the exhaust. Yeah, sounds great. So, like I say, from a GT3 perspective, yes, it feels different. I think after a couple of laps, you'll adapt to that different feeling. But like in terms of, you know, the reason I've opted to compare this to ACC was, you know, as ACC is focused purely on GT3. Well, I know there's GT4 and Cup cars, but you know what I mean. It's the bread and butter. It's what ACC is known for. So, you know, if we're going to compare anything, let's compare it against the perceived best in class in GT3. For sure, RaceRoom feels different. It feels softer. It feels smoother. And it actually feels pretty good, all things considered. The important thing for me was that when you're coming into braking areas, particularly in this car, and you know, from experience in ACC, when you're coming into those braking areas, sometimes the back will start to step out under braking when you're trailing right into the corner, and that moment was also present in RaceRoom. So yeah, felt a little different in terms of how the feedback was given, but generally speaking, I felt similar things when similar things happen in ACC. So with that, let's pause this here. Let's get the same car, same track, jump into ACC, and repeat this test and see what we think of it. Right guys, so here we are in Assetto Corsa Competizione at Brands Hatch in the Audi R8 Evo 1. So yeah, let's do this back to back against RaceRoom and see exactly how these stack up. So let me just get my Stream Deck for the car specific controls like ABS and TC and stuff. So engine map. So yeah, everything looks good. So let's get out on track now. One thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a handy outlap because one nuance with ACC is that it's quite sensitive to tyre pressures in terms of grip. So the ideal pressure in ACC is about 27.6 or 7 PSI in the GT3 cars, or in and around that. And yeah, it just is what it is, I guess. So I'm just going to take it handy. Just while we're doing that, I'm going to go through the dash display there. So in front of us, remember in RaceRoom we had like the tyre wear and all that stuff. Well, here we've got lap time, delta, RPM, fuel maps. We have a day mode and a night mode. So if you're racing at night, the screen can be darkened, as you can see. We have temperatures, pressures, and all of that sort of thing, as well as fuel. Yeah, all of the key information. And as well as that with the LED, the rev LEDs, they go across in colour, but then when we redline it, you'll see they change to a blue colour as well. So that's something that we didn't have in RaceRoom, but that is in the real life car, where in real life you'll see they either go all red or all blue depending on the team that's running the car. Then we have the race logic display as well, which is quite cool. So we have the lap time, the delta, the stint timers as well. So if you're doing an endurance race, and you need to make sure that you're not going over your stint, you can keep an eye on that. But let's start to open up the tops a little bit on this R8 Evo and see how it compares to the RaceRoom version. So I'm just going to take a slow-ish, fast-ish lap. Slowish, fastish. Just to kind of start leaning on the car to see kind of, okay, how does it initially behave, let's say. And immediately you'll probably notice that the steering wheel is a lot more, well, I don't know if you picked this up on camera or not, but the steering wheel is a lot more, there's a lot more going on with it. The car is and feels more dynamic. I can feel the edge of grip kind of come and go through the corner. The track is way more bumpy, and that's probably down to being laser scanned. So every track in ACC has gotten the laser scan treatment. And on tracks like this, and you know, it definitely shows. You can see there, just as the car's riding the bumps, it's pushing the whole chassis further out to the outside, which is a pain really, because you don't know then whether should I give it more steering, should I give it more throttle to try and snap the rear around, but that doesn't always work. It's a constant thought process through the corner. I definitely have to think more in ACC, that's for sure. Like, the car's moving around a bit more compared to RaceRoom, but it's moving around in a more vicious type way, where I have to be thinking and delicate at the same time to get it around the corner. Trail braking obviously is at a premium in both sims. But there's definitely a reward for being extra smooth in ACC as well. So smoothness is key, but also finding the balance of grip, both on the trail braking side of it into the corner and picking up the throttle in a way that you don't trigger the TC too much, and you know, you get off the corner basically in a smooth way. You can see the bumps on the car there and the whole drivetrain being upset by it. And just as the car kind of lands, I'm trying to play with the throttle a little bit in a Senna type way, just to kind of get the power down, get the car momentum moving forward. Bit of a snap of oversteer there, but what are we on for? 24.4. Do one more lap, but this is actually, it's very engaging. Very engaging. I will say, like, people will obviously have preference in, let's say, feel of a simulator, right? Forget the cars for a moment, just how a simulator feels, right? So let's say RaceRoom is known for a kind of a rubbery, softer feeling. More of a, let's say, a tire type feel. And people just prefer that. Blankly, I prefer a tire type feeling. I like my sim to be a bit softer. You're going to favour RaceRoom, and the cool thing is that even when you take ACC, which many believe is almost like, you know, the king of GT3's, right? I can tell you, RaceRoom does a very good job of recreating the Audi R8 at least. I will test some of the other cars that exist in both sims, but what I'm saying is the actual balance of the car is similar. The force feedback is given in a bit different way, but the actual characteristic is the same. When you get into both sims, you'll find you have to work a lot harder in ACC, I find. There's just a lot more going on. The track is more alive, and the car becomes more alive because of it. Yeah, that was fun. So let me, let's just have a look at the replay and just unpack a few thoughts here. So yeah, let's go back to the outlap. So as I mentioned, right, the physics in this, I mean, in ACC, in my opinion, are, you know, absolute world class. I mean, you could see the car on the brakes coming in as it hit the bumps in the road, of which there's a good few around Brands Hatch. The steering wheel and the car's bouncing about the place, and when the car comes off the bump and interacts with the bump, it becomes a little bit unsettled, and you're then, you know, within a split second you're saying, okay, do I need to counter steer, do I need to open up the throttle a bit, whatever the case may be. And that's something that ACC does really well. The driving physics are really, really good, and the actual character of the R8 that I mentioned as well is very similar in RaceRoom. Yes, the feedback and the interaction with you as a driver does feel different. It's more muted. It's more, it's a softer touch in RaceRoom. It still feels nice. It still feels nice, and the character of the car is still there. You know, particularly on braking and particularly on, you know, applying throttle. Like in RaceRoom, you had either the understeer effect if the car wanted to push, or it would also be a bit willing to snap as well in certain circumstances. The exact same, you know, as it is in ACC. I definitely found in ACC less confidence in the car, and what I mean by that is that I had less confidence in the car purely because the overall drive in front of me, if you like, was much more dynamic. We had a laser scan track, which, and I could tell you, I could feel it, you know, and I'm sure you could see it on the video as well, that the car was very much alive compared to RaceRoom. Stepping away from that then, if we forget about the dynamics for a second, we get on to other stuff then, maybe like the sound, the visuals, you know, all of that stuff that the modern ACC has going for it. You know, whether it's the lighting effects in ACC, like you've got the day-night cycles, you've got the weather and all of that other, you know. So if you're thinking about picking a sim purely based on driving dynamics and stuff like that, you should also probably factor in the other things that, you know, will give ACC a bit of a nudge as well. I mean, like for me, the driving dynamics in ACC are they're more dynamic. They're definitely more engaging. Right? I won't beat about the bush, but RaceRoom has got a very, very good representation of the R8 from what I've seen, and I would happily drive GT3's in RaceRoom as well, like for stuff like DTM, maybe the ADAC Masters and stuff like that. But like I say, for pure raw GT3, for me at least, I would give the tip to ACC. It just, you know, and no sim is perfect, guys, right? No sim is perfect. ACC is not the holy bible of sim racing or anything like that. I'm just saying that from doing it back to back, the same car on the same track, ACC has stood out for the right reasons. And look, it's to be expected. You know, you've got a developer, you've got, you know, they've got a bit of budget behind them, have kudos, and they decided to focus on one particular series. They've got the license for it and access to manufacturer data and all of that stuff. So this is their baby. It's a single series focus. So it's not surprising they've done it as well as they have. Still not perfect. Still a few things to be ironed out, obviously, but yeah. Yeah, sounds are pretty cool as well. But yeah, guys, we'll leave it there. Thanks as always for watching, and hopefully you like these type of videos where I stick to back to back, because it's interesting and fun for me as a sim racer to see how two sims trying to, you know, they implement the same car and they somehow come to the same conclusion on how that car should behave, and they just make it behave in their own way, but in a same sort of way. But yeah, we leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching, and yeah, ACC, RaceRoom, my advice, get them both. They both do really good things in their own way. As I've said with all, you know, anything to do with sim racing, each driving sim has its own strength and weakness. But yeah, ACC, its strengths obviously are GT cars. RaceRoom has a lot more options to, you know, open wheelers and stuff. But yeah, we leave it there. Go drive them, let me know what you think, and yeah, until the next one. Thanks.